What's going on? Welcome into another episode of Always Talking Ball. I'm Tyler Noe. He's Lance Barton. Real quick before we get started, programming note, once again, Tuesday night, 8 p.m., we're going live to recap the CFP rankings. We won't be live this week with the committee because those are coming on at 7 p.m. We got kids we got to put to bed, all right? So we'll be on our YouTube channel again. We'll be on X, so tune in, set your reminders, click the notification bell right now on YouTube so you can watch along with us. Lance, we got a ton to talk about tonight. We've got stuff going on in the Big Ten. We got SEC, big game going on in Lubbock. We're going to talk about the chaos going on in the ACC. We're talking about everything, man. So we're just going to get going. We're going to move as fast as we can tonight. As always, make sure you like and subscribe on whatever platform you're tuning in on. Make sure you follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Weekly recap episode, as always, brought to you by our good friends at Frost Buddy. And I mean, we were already accused of being a Texas Tech podcast, so why not break out the beautiful guns up Texas Tech Frost Buddy here, man. Big win at Texas Tech. We'll talk about this game here in a second, but frostbuddy.com/ATB. And I think right now they're giving 40% cash back towards like a future purchase. And they're going to have some major Black Friday deals. And I'm telling you, man, like 40 ounces, 50 ounces, little 16 ounces, like they've got everything. So many cool designs over there. frostbuddy.com/ATB. All right, Lance, let's get started, man. Let's go to Happy Valley. Indiana 27, Penn State 24. The number 2 Hoosiers escape Happy Valley with a thrilling game. I'll be honest, this game was on a second TV of mine, and I was watching the Texas Tech BYU game for the most part. Indiana was in control. It was 20-10 in the second half, and I think you even caught my first attention. You were like, "Hey, let's tune in to Happy Valley here," and it was 20-17 at that point. I switched games. Mendoza throws a pick. I looked at the box score. I was like checking out the, box score, team stats, all that on ESPN. And like, I was like, man, Penn State's got 2 turnovers. Indiana's got 1. Like they're winning the turnover battle. Like how in the world is this game close? Like they were dominating time of possession, like really just holding Penn State to minimal amounts of rushing until, of course, Nick Singleton breaks that run to cut it to 3. They pick it off and then they run down the field and then boom. And then that's it, man. Like it's just unbelievable. Fernando Mendoza, like obviously everyone wants to call that last drive his Heisman moment, and everybody has one, throughout the year. And it's a crazy that last drive started off with a sack, and it was like 2nd and 17. And I texted you guys like this dude never flinches. He did the same thing at Oregon where he threw that pick 6 to the true freshman there, and then got the ball back and let him right down for a touchdown. And obviously, this drive will probably live in Indiana football lore forever. The play on the sideline that they had, on the sideline catch, that goes underrated, under the radar because of Omar Cooper's catch and just one of, considering the situation, the circumstances, and the fact that they're 9-0, trying to achieve that undefeated season that Indiana could only ever dream of having. And the ability to get that foot down, to jump like 36 inches in the air, to get the ball that looks like Fernando Mendoza is maybe even thrown out of the back of the end zone almost. Cooper jumps so high and he gets the foot down with like 40 seconds left. It's just an unbelievable drive by Indiana. And really, like, you rarely do you get a season where a team has national championship aspirations and they go through the entire season just absolutely unscathed and untested. Like you're talking like 2020 Alabama, like untested, right? I mean, Michigan a couple years ago was tested plenty. Ohio State obviously lost 2 games last year. So like you get tested through some of these seasons, and yesterday was no different for Indiana.
Yep. That was, again, that drive, like you said, just thinking about, like, I can't remember when the last time they said that Indiana had won in Happy Valley.
I don't think they ever had won in Happy Valley.
I was going to say, maybe it's ever.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So the fact that they won there, and this, like, I know Penn State hasn't had a good season, but they still got a ton of talent. But the the two throws, obviously the one that he threw to Charlie Becker on the sidelines, and Becker made that play on the sidelines,
Dude,
kind of the back shoulder.
Charlie Becker. Okay, let's talk about this guy for a second. Coming in for
That's
Elijah Surratt.
7 catches, 118 yards.
He had 7 catches for 157 yards the entire season coming into this game.
Yep. And that should just tell you again, if you're a wide receiver, quarterback, skill position player, offensive player, period, that you should want to go play in this Signetti, Mike Shanahan Jr. system, man. I mean, it is very friendly, without a doubt. That's why they continue to score points like that. But yeah, I mean, it was a Heisman moment for Mendoza. It was great plays made by all around by the wide receivers. Uh, it's interesting that Mendoza continues to. I think I saw a stat where, like, in the Iowa game and in the Oregon game and now the Penn State game, where he led game-winning drives, where they had to become game-winning drives because he threw picks in the fourth quarter
Yeah.
that led to game-winning drives. So it's like he's helping Indiana put themselves in a hole, but then he's showing the stones to come back after that in the fourth quarter to just
It's
put
like
it
he plays
behind.
better.
Yeah, to put it behind him and go make a play. I'm sure he would probably be the first to tell you, like, I probably need to just not throw the pick first to put us in those situations, but he digs them out of it each time, no doubt. So as far as the Hoosiers are concerned, though, you're right. Every team that does anything special in a season, whether it's national championship or it's a big time run, it's rare that you don't have a team that doesn't have a game where they get like significantly pushed or even lose. Like, so there's not been just a ton of undefeated teams every single year. So for Indiana to hold on and win that game like they did, that was impressive. That was obviously too, like, when that game kind of got there tight at the end, you saw Denia Dennis Sutton and some of those NFL future, stars that Penn State does have, but for whatever reason they couldn't put it together this year. They started making plays. They were like, Sutton got a sack, and then he went absolutely just ape shit there
And
in
then
the
he was
fourth.
like,
Yeah,
dude,
he
he
was
like
losing
right
his.
in the camera.
Yeah, dude, he was losing his. Honestly, again, at that moment in time, there wasn't a person watching that game, and I bet there were plenty of Indiana fans too watching that game that felt like this is it. Like, we're going to lose this game.
Oh, I got plenty of texts. Game's over.
Yep, yep. And I thought so too. When Penn
Yeah.
State scored there, I said, I don't think they're going to win this one. They're now getting that collective group of really good talent that Penn State has that hasn't been able to put it together all year. Now they're sitting here in a situation where they got the number 2 team in the country down late in the fourth quarter. That whole place is losing its mind. It's out of body, and they're going to end up winning this game. And then Indiana found a way to win. And Signetti's reaction afterwards said it all, like what that meant to him and what that meant. I mean, again, you're still undefeated. You're 10-0, and I keep going back to the part of, and I'm sure Indiana fans would agree with this. I mean, this is like the losingest program ever, and to go.
I think Northwestern just passed. Like, they just passed Northwestern in the Big Ten at least.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
but to go 10-0 like that, to keep your season alive, undefeated, to keep your Big Ten championship hopes alive, all the stuff that Indiana wants to accomplish, they were able. And obviously, too, again, I don't care if Penn State's 3-6 or not. That's still a huge win for the Hoosiers to go into Happy Valley and beat a talented, let's just call it what it is, a overall roster wise more talented Penn State team. Again, they just hadn't put it together. But this Indiana team continues to again, they did it against Iowa. They did it in this game, and they're blowing out other teams. Good win for the Hoosiers, and I just can't get over that catch, man, in the back of the end zone by Omar Cooper Jr. Just remarkable catch to get his foot down in that situation.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk about Indiana. Give me your overarching thoughts on the Hoosiers, and I want the South's perspective. And I know you're in group chats. I know you're in group texts, and I know they were all talking about Indiana yesterday. So I want to let the people know what the South thinks of this Hoosiers team.
Honestly, it's mostly what you think it is, that they haven't played anybody. Okay, they were impressed. Like, they're way more impressed with them this year. Like, the group chats and the people that I follow on social media and whatnot, way more impressed with them this year, but there's still tons of shots at their schedule overall. And them going on the road and beating whatever Penn State's record is right now, uh, they reacted like you probably think that they would react after that. But I think it's just more so when I don't really know what the correct answer is to this, but when an SEC team goes and beats a bottom tiered SEC team on the road and it's a really close game, SEC fans, for the most part, I'm going to say I do it too. We'll talk about what a hard fought win, what a tough win that was, and excited about that win. But the rest of the country laughs at the SEC when they do that and makes fun of them for acting that way. And then when the Big Ten goes and does it, like Indiana the other night, against Penn State this weekend, yeah, Joel Klatt and them are acting a fool, acting a donkey on the broadcast, and making it seem like that they just won the national championship and stuff. So it's just a typical back and forth right now between Big Ten and SEC. And you said it best as far as the way Joel Klatt was reacting. I mean, he might as well be a Big Ten employee.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I used to really like Gus Johnson, and it's just I'm good if I never hear him again. And I can know ESPN fans complain about Joe Tess and just like it's like these announcers these days want to try to one up each other on like who can get the loudest or who can have the most crazy, insane call that goes viral on the internet, right?
Well, they're getting a lot of attention from it, so they're just overdoing it now.
Yeah.
They're just overdoing it now. But I think for the most part, I just think that most of the people that I know really well just want it to be consistent across the board. They just want it to be consistent. And like when you do go on the road and get again, I'll use the team I'm a fan of as an example. When Alabama went on the road and beat South Carolina, I, as a fan, was extremely grateful, happy, fired up, excited, and felt like that was a hard fought, like Alabama had no business winning that game in the fourth quarter, and they found a way to win that game. And I was excited about it and happy about it. I really didn't give a rat's ass that the rest of the country was like, oh, yeah, Alabama now is going to act like what a hard fought win that was to go beat booty South Carolina on the road. And that's fine. Y'all can act that way. I was excited about it and I was happy about it.
Yeah.
Indiana fans should feel the exact same way. Indiana fans should be thrilled, happy, excited. They should act like they just won the Super Bowl. What a freaking moment that was. You should act like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
you're
like
an Indiana fan, have my mindset that I did after the Alabama South Carolina game. Who gives a shit what the rest of the country has to say about it? Who cares that there's SEC fans or whoever, even other Big Ten fans? Who cares that Ohio State fans are like, see, we beat the brakes off of Penn State. Y'all had to go there. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, let them talk. You're undefeated, 10-0, about to be ranked 1, 2, or 3 in the country and having just a dream season. Soak it all up. Don't care what the rest of the country is saying about it.
It's much more fun to be like happy after a victory than be miserable after a victory. And I'm guilty of it. I've been miserable after a victory of one of my teams and been like, dude, like I cannot believe we won that. Like I don't feel good about going forward, but like you forget you won the game. Like, and that's all you're really required to do. And like I know college football is not like the NFL. NFL, you win. It doesn't matter how you win. You win the game, you're in the playoffs. College football, because we've got committees and everything, like you got to win pretty, right? CFB fans, I mean, we know the college football fans are ridiculous. Like they're the most ridiculous fans on the planet. Like we're talking about Indiana, like these, like you said, these fans have suffered for decades and decades and decades. And I mean, yeah, they should be going nuts in the bars and like videos are coming out like that. That's awesome. Like they should be having fun in a victory.
Dude, in the last 2 years during this Signetti run, have they had anything even close to that moment happen?
No, I mean they lost two
honestly,
games last year. Maybe the Michigan game was the closest game other than their losses last year.
All of their wins, they're beating the absolute brakes off of people.
Yeah,
and they had the game at Oregon. That was still a 10-point win.
Yep.
Well, whatever it was, double-digit win.
Iowa scoring under 2 minutes ago with Surratt.
Yeah.
Like it was probably pretty exciting.
Yeah, the Surratt play against Iowa in the fourth quarter. But as far as like the Alabama play against Auburn in the Iron Bowl a couple years ago, I'm just using like my fandom as an example. Like when Milroe threw that 4th and 31 pass in the back of the end zone to Isaiah Bond. Like moments like that. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you
Nobody
should
cared you beat 5-win Auburn.
exactly. You should freak out as a fan. Let the rest of the college football world dog, like whatever. Who cares? Like, don't worry about it. Yeah, if you're an Indiana fan, block all of that out and just enjoy everything that you're doing right now. And honestly, if I was an Indiana fan, I would be sitting around and just laughing at the rest of the country, worried so much about Indiana football right now.
Yeah.
That's how I would feel if I
The
was an
only thing
Indiana
I'll
fan.
only thing I'll say about their, you talked about the strength of schedule and everything. Everybody always wants to dog on Indiana's strength of schedule. Even in the summer, they dropped Virginia, and everyone wants to dog on their strength of schedule. Just looking at it here on K Ford ratings, no other team in the country has 3 road top 20 victories over top 20 power rated teams.
Top
Penn
20
State
power rated
currently
teams, and not
Penn State
ranked, power rated teams. Okay.
Penn State's currently the 20th ranked 20th rated power rated team. They've got 3 road victories against top 20 power rated teams. And I mean, yeah, you can look at Penn State like they're 3-6, but like, would you rather would it be more impressive for you to beat 3-6 Penn State on the road, or have like Cincinnati come at home and you beat them at home?
Oh yeah, dude, we're on the same page with that. Like
A lot of people would say Cincinnati because they're fringe top 25.
Yep.
They're 7-2 when
Nope.
they're 5 points below Penn State. So it's just,
Yeah,
you gotta put all that together.
ask Texas about playing Florida off a bye when Florida still had all that talent that they've got in the swamp like that.
Yeah.
Would you rather go play Florida in the swamp with all the talent that they've got, or would you rather play Cincinnati at home?
Sure.
Yeah, that's a great example. And there's some people that don't agree with that probably, but that's okay. They don't have to.
Speaking of Texas, let's go to Lubbock. Let's go to Lubbock, man. Where Texas Tech just throttled.
Made us
BYU.
look good, bro. Shout out to Texas Tech because I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna take over here for a second.
Yeah.
The BYU fans coming for our throats in the YouTube videos and on social media in general. I get it. You're a fan. You want to get after somebody about it. That's fine. But the personal shots and the things that were being said, just wow. Pretty remarkable. And I know we were getting accused of being a Texas Tech podcast, but again, we had a super fan, Texas Tech fan, Josh Abaddon, who is our freaking boy now, by the way, and such a nice guy, puts out great music, and is just kind enough and willing enough to give us his time to want to come on our show. If there's some BYU super fan that wants to take time to come on our show, please send them our way. We'd love to talk ball with them too. But the analysis of the game that we gave, Texas Tech's defensive line would be too much for the BYU running game. Texas Tech would be a bad matchup for BYU because BYU really needs to be able to run the football because Bear Bachmeier can't just drop back over and over and over again and beat you with his arm and beat you with the passing game. They need to be able to be physical, be able to control the line of scrimmage, to be able to win a football game, and they need to be able to help make forced mistakes. They only had 6 turnovers going into the game. They were one of the best teams in the country at forcing turnovers. They don't make mistakes. They force you to make mistakes, and they run the football, and they play hard-nosed defense. All of those things Texas Tech this year's Texas Tech team has a big-time answer for. That defensive front for Texas Tech is national championship level good. That's how good that defensive line is for them, and the front seven in general overall. It was just a bad matchup for BYU, and that's okay. That happens to a lot of other teams too, a lot of other really good teams. BYU is going to beat a lot of teams in the Big 12 just like they have the last 2 years because guess what? They're a bad matchup for a lot of other teams in the Big 12. But this Texas Tech team with a ton of NFL talent along the line of scrimmage was a problem for BYU, and it turned out to be just that. We've been plenty wrong about many things. We were not wrong on this one. We were all over it. So I'm not going to say anything else. What I was about to get a little
I mean, we were laughed at for saying, Texas Tech was going to force some turnovers. They're playing at home, get the crowd going, force the true freshmen into turnovers. And you can't analyze turnovers. Well, they forced 3. They won the turnover battle 3-0. They allowed 2.5 yards per carry. I actually came away, I texted you during the game. I came away impressed with BYU in the trenches. And that linebacker, Jack Kelly, really, really good linebacker. And they're a solid squad. They're a very solid squad.
Yeah, they've still got everything in front of them to still go get a college football playoff spot. Absolutely.
Yeah. Texas Tech, though, like we just talked about it, you talked about it. Very solid defense. Very solid. I mean, the game 29-7 wasn't indicative of how far apart those teams were. It was 29-0 until BYU got a late touchdown.
And
Um,
the amount of times at Texas Tech, which again, credit, like everybody is always going to trash the offense for getting into the red zone that many times and not
yeah.
scoring, but you still got to give credit to BYU's defense at the same time for not letting them get into the end zone. It's both. Texas
Yeah.
Tech, for whatever reason, the play calling, other things going on, I disagree with a lot of the stuff they were doing in the red zone, but at the same time, BYU was really good defensively in the red zone.
Yeah, I just think for Texas Tech, I mean, I never thought I would say this in my lifetime, but the offense is worrying me a little bit, but just
I agree.
because I mean, Baron Morton, you could clearly see him limping throughout the
Yep.
game, and he's got that
He's not
hairline
healthy.
fracture. Like, he's playing on a hairline fracture
Yep.
and couldn't play in the Arizona State game. We saw what happened. Will Hammond's not even there now. Like, he's out for the
Yep.
season. So he's gotta just tough it out, and I don't think he's gonna be 100% for the rest of the season, and they are
Nope.
a team that they are one of the few that well, not one of the few, but, like, they were I can't remember what game I was talking about people wanting to, I think it was Nick Saban on game day talking about those 5 through 8 teams wanna play at home. Texas Tech wants that bye, man. They want Baron Morton to get as much rest as possible. They would love to host a game in Lubbock. That would be great. But they got to win out. And I think if they win out, they got a real shot at being in the top 4 and getting that bye. Um,
I agree.
but just that him not being 100%, that defense is going to have to raise its level because you're not going to be playing against true freshmen every time in the playoffs. You're
Yep.
going to be playing against Ty Simpson and Gunnar Stockton and CJ Carr
Well,
and
they're going to be playing against teams that don't get overwhelmed at the line of scrimmage like a lot of these teams are playing. And this is not a shot at the Big 12. We get accused of being a Big 12 podcast sometimes too for how much we love the Big 12 and the teams in that conference. We do. But there's a lot of teams, man, that just cannot deal with Bailey and like some of those just monsters on the D line that Texas Tech has, man. They just can't. And whoever they draw in the college football playoffs, like the majority of those teams majority of the teams from the Big Ten and the SEC will be able to. And so, yeah, I agree. The Baron Morton thing does worry me a little bit, and that's a shame because the dude can play. He's solid as a rock, but playing on one leg basically and not being healthy like that's going to be tough, man, going forward. Cameron Dickey's a stud at tailback. They should have probably ran him more even before he got going big time there in the second half. Early in the game when they were running, they were having success with him. Like, he's a stud and they can run the football. But I am worried about Morton, man. I'm with you on that because of the health.
They've got UCF at home, and then they get a bye week before they go to Morgantown. And I remember we talked in the summer, like dreams have been dashed in Morgantown Thanksgiving weekend. Obviously, West Virginia's dreams got dashed, 20 years ago against Pitt.
Yep.
So it's not a foregone conclusion yet, but they got the definite inside track to the Big 12 championship. And I think whoever they play there, even if it's BYU or Utah, like those would be interesting games, interesting matchups. But they've already beaten those teams by 24 and 22 points.
If
So
they
I think
went out in the regular season, they're getting in.
yeah, they're in the playoffs. But I think
I agree with you. They need to win that Big 12 championship game. Depending on what happens with if the top 4 teams in the country right now all went out in the regular season, I don't think no matter what happens I would be surprised, even with a Big 12 championship with Texas Tech, I would still be surprised if Alabama, A&M, Indiana, and Ohio State have the exact same amount of losses that they have right now and get to the conference championship game, barring an absolute just beat down.
Yeah, I was going to say A&M would have to just beat Alabama by like 30.
Beat them to death. Yep.
Yeah.
Or Ohio State just absolutely murder Indiana.
But even then, Indiana would be 12-1.
Yeah, but Texas Tech would be 12-1 with a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, they would have to be up in the top 5. Like Georgia would have to lose a game here. Like, Georgia has got a chance to win 3 games, but not make that. So they would be 11-1. So I don't know. I mean, it's so many scenarios
I think they need somebody to lose. Maybe they don't, but I think they need somebody to lose. But either way, I agree with you. Getting more time off for Morton would do them a lot of good, for sure. But before we move on from Texas Tech, we got to talk about Jacob Rodriguez. Uh, I just think it's awesome too that we highlighted him specifically back during the summer. We
Mhm.
were talking about Shield Wood and we were talking about how good we thought this Texas Tech defense was going to be this year, and they have not let us down, man. They again, we're wrong about a lot, but they have made us look good all year long. Texas Tech in general, everything about them. And Rodriguez, you sent me the side by side photo of Monte Teo's stats when he went to the like Heisman Trophy
Yeah.
ceremony, and compared to what Jacob Rodriguez's stats are now, bro. I mean, it's a thing, and they were hyping it up on the during the
Yeah.
game. He got the interception. During, I mean, he 14th dude. He was. You want to talk about again, like having a time where like everybody in the world's watching your game. Well, everybody
Yeah.
that doesn't have YouTube TV is watching your game. You're featured on College Game Day like he was with the awesome story with his wife, Black Hawk pilot. What a badass, by the way.
Yeah.
Uh, and then you go out and get 14 tackles and get an interception, pass deflection, have 9 solo tackles. Just put on a show. So in a year right now where really the quarterbacks of the top 4 teams in the country right now are probably your Heisman front runners,
Mhm.
if they do take 5 people, I mean, Jacob Rodriguez is right there.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right there. I'd be interested to see where the little Heisman like odds things when they come out. They're probably already out right now, but I would be interested to see where he's at in comparison. Like I would imagine Julian Sayin, Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza, and Marcel Reed are 1 through 4. But after that, I bet you it's Jacob Rodriguez, Jeremiah Love, Jeremiah Smith, probably somewhere in that order.
Not even listed on DraftKings.
Rodriguez isn't.
Mm-mm.
Well, that just shows you. Like his, I get
Pavia, Stockton, Jeremiah Smith, Jeremiah Love, Hanks King, Trinidad, CJ, Mayava, Aguilar's on there.
okay. Move on before I get
Let me
mad.
check another. Let me check another book while we're talking about it because it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
keep going there. I could see like I was looking up numbers and like Trinidad Chambliss, the numbers he's put up, and Haynes King, the numbers he's put up. That's strange, man.
not even listed on FanDuel. They got the North Texas quarterback on there. Thank God.
Okay, well there's all you need to know about what that reward has become, what that award has become over
I
the
can't
last.
believe people care about the Heisman anymore. Like I don't. Like,
Well, you notice we never.
immediately after that,
This is the
immediately after
first
the
time
IU
we've talked about
game,
it in a while.
immediately after the IU game, we had people that we know talking about Mendoza shouldn't get rewarded for that when Julian Sayin just dusted Penn State. And I'm just like, well, that's what we're taking away. Like nobody cares about the Heisman. Who
I
cares
literally
about the
don't. I
Heisman?
literally don't. Like I
No,
hope.
I mean I
Like
haven't
as a,
watched the Heisman ceremony that Saturday night in December in decades.
yeah, like I don't. I hope that like if it's a player for my team that's competing for it, sure, I'm
Yeah.
excited about it and I'm happy about it and I hope he wins it. But other than that, I could care less as well. But it's amazing how many people really do care.
All right. Iowa almost did it again, man.
God, dude, they did exactly. They drugged the Ducks into the deep dark waters of Iowa City, turned that game into an Iowa just muck it up fest in that rain and cold storm, and Oregon found a way
Yeah.
to win. Dude,
Yeah.
unbelievable. The Indiana drive at the end of the game, so much fun to see that. Like awesome stuff there in college football. Iowa's long drive there in that fourth quarter and to punch it into the end zone like that. And then Oregon just to stand there, take a standing 8 count and get up. And again, just old Cinderella man, Russell Crowe, just smile and put that mouthpiece back in their mouth and come for more. Dante Moore, the throw that he had down the sideline to, I think it was Benson.
Yeah, Blake Benson.
Yeah, I think it was Malik Benson. What a throw. What
Yeah.
a catch. Just that drive in general. If Oregon goes on to do more special things down the stretch, they can look back at that moment, that drive, and to find a way to win that game in one of the toughest places to play in that scenario. Like Kirk Herbstreit said on game day, top 10 teams in November, their dreams truly do go to die in Iowa City, and they
Yeah.
were this close, man. I'm with you. I know where you're about to go with this. I don't mean to steal your thunder, but I'm going to go ahead and just say it. I was so impressed with how Iowa played
Yeah.
in that game. To be able to hang with the athletes there at Oregon like that. And on the flip side of that, I'm also extremely impressed that Oregon played Iowa's style of game, did get drug in the deep dark waters, all that stuff that I just said a minute ago, and still found a way to win that game like that. That was honestly, man, the Oregon earned a ton of my respect after that game. I've been banging on them a little bit here lately because they haven't beaten a soul really this year, and they keep getting credit because they're the brand. And I mean, we know how much I love Dan Lanning, but I have been banging on them a little bit. They earned my respect in that game to find a way to win that one in the fourth quarter like that.
Yeah, I mean that some could have said that was their season right there. Like they lose that game, they got 2 losses, and just judging by everything else, where the committee placed them at ninth, like they might have been on the outside looking in from those 2 lost teams. And to go in, I mean they did it at Penn State. They've now done it at Iowa. Like they're able to go in and they're able to win different ways,
Yep.
which is something that 5-10 years ago they were not able to do with Cristobal or Chip. Even with Chip Kelly, they weren't able to do that. Like when they got
Agreed.
physical team, they weren't able to do that. To go in and play Iowa's brand of football and have 36 carries for 261 yards,
Yeah.
7.3 per carry, and really not have like a big breakaway at all, just methodical stuff. Dante Moore, I don't think he completed a single pass in the second half before that last drive.
Yeah,
Like
it
he was
was.
like 0 for 2.
Yeah, them running the football like they did, I was very impressed for sure. But yeah, it just the fact that Oregon now, if you think about it, think about I'm just putting yourself in those stadiums. Like think of how Happy Valley in a whiteout at night when they came back and tied that freaking game there at the end of the fourth quarter and forced overtime, about how everything must have been feeling like it was just against you in that moment, in that time, against a really talented team that still had everything to play for at that moment in time, everything to play for during that moment. And they found a way to win in overtime against Penn State there. Just went straight down the field and that 25 yards, whatever it is, to open that overtime drive and scored immediately. Then they got the interception against Drew Aller. And then same thing here. Iowa goes down the field, scores, throws a knockout punch at you, and you get up off the mat and go right down the field and score and win the game. Impressive, man. Dude, I texted you this during the game. The Ducks next year, this is a young football team.
Yeah.
A young football team. They're impressive stuff right there, man. They absolutely got my attention or my respect.
I can't wait to see him in 2026 against that legit schedule. So,
good old text message stuff there. That's hilarious.
Oregon, they get Minnesota Friday night. They should take care of them, and then they get USC at home, which is will be a really good game.
It's gonna be a fun
it's
one.
at home. It's at Autzen. Like they should be. They should. In my opinion, they should win that. They'll be favored in that game.
Yeah.
And then they got at Washington in the year, and everyone's going to say, "Oh, Washington can't even beat Wisconsin." Like you clearly haven't been watching Washington football for the past couple of years. Like at home, they're just a different team. They're a different animal.
Yeah, Jed Fish and Washington's 2-7 away from Husky Stadium, and they've lost one game.
Yeah,
they've lost one game in Husky Stadium in the last 4 years.
Yeah,
and that was to the Buckeyes.
Yep.
So, yeah, and nobody's beaten them really in the regular season that's not named Michigan. So yeah, that just happens.
All right, so we talked about a couple conferences. I'm going to call it the Power 3 because we're going to talk about the ACC and what's going on. They're kind of like in purgatory right now. Like they're technically a P4 program, but I mean, you can say parody or you can say awful football, I guess. Duke, I mean, they're on the cusp of winning the ACC championship. They can't even beat UConn. They're 0-3. They lost to UConn. They lost to Illinois. And they lost to Tulane. They've lost 3 non-conference games. So you're talking mass chaos there with Duke. Louisville at home against a Cal team, traveling across the country, 3 time zones, losing to Virginia last week at home, and getting the job done in Cardinal Stadium there in overtime. Just cannot happen if you're Jeff Brom. And Virginia, they finally lost one. They just couldn't they couldn't get it done. They could not pull one more rabbit out of the hat. They lost at home to Wake Forest as a 6.5-point favorite, 16-9. They couldn't even score a single touchdown against Wake Forest. And I wish Wake would have got their act together. I wish Wake wouldn't have gotten screwed over against Georgia Tech. We'd be talking about mass chaos scenarios with Wake Forest winning the ACC, but it's just chaos, right? I think Miami is almost back in this thing. Like, you still got Virginia and Pitt and Georgia Tech and Duke. They've all got one loss, and Louisville's got 2 losses now, but they've got the tiebreaker over Miami. And I'm probably forgetting someone, but like, it's anybody's guess as to
SMU.
how these games are going to shake out. Yeah, SMU.
Yeah, SMU still in the thick of it. Like Georgia Tech 5-1, UVA 5-1. This is conference play. Pitt 5-1, SMU 5-1, Duke 4-1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 5 teams right there with only one loss. And Duke plays UVA this weekend. So one of those teams will have 2 losses this coming up weekend. And of course, you've got Louisville and Miami both sitting there with 2. But again, Miami, man, with the tiebreaker against Louisville, things could still get weird there. Down the stretch between Miami might be able to find a way back into it. But you're right. The craziest scenario would be Duke takes care of business this week at home as a 6.5-point favorite right now against UVA. They end up going to the ACC championship. If they end up winning it, dude, there's already people talking like scenarios out there where what if James Madison wins their conference championship as one loss, and then the American Athletic Conference champion, like let's just say it's South Florida, ends up winning that conference championship. Would they leave the ACC out? I'd be surprised. I'd be so surprised, but it is a legit like conversation.
Well, they're going to rank UVA this week. They're not going to pull them all the way out of the top 25.
Agreed.
Because Duke's going to have a chance. They're going to have a chance to get a ranked win, even though that doesn't matter. And then I think they've got North Carolina, probably an NC State on the schedule still. So it's like, it's after UVA, it's not like a lot of teams. That's a good win.
UVA at North Carolina, and then they finish the season at home against that solid Wake squad.
Yeah.
There's games they could still lose, but it's out of control. I mean, as far as teams that I think that could like win a game or give somebody a fight in a college football playoff scenario, I'm going to hold right now. I think that Pitt could put up a fight against somebody. We'll definitely find that out this weekend against Notre Dame.
Yep.
No question. That's where College Game Day is going. Miami, with their talent that they've got, I mean, they could obviously we already saw them. They've already beaten Notre Dame. They could put up a fight against a good team in a college football playoff. And after that, I mean, again, it's hard to count out Brent Key as an underdog and Georgia Tech as an underdog. But, dude, it's just the ACC is wild, and they just can't stop beating themselves, and they can't stop losing out of conference games. Their out of conference record this year is so terrible. It's awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Dude, how crappy is the SEC? They can't even get game day to come to one of their November games. Like, it's just embarrassing.
Yeah, it's
they can't even go to Georgia, Texas. Come on.
Yeah, they're not even going to Georgia, Texas. Well, the problem is it's because they've already gone to Athens, they've already gone to Tuscaloosa, they've already taken those trips.
Yeah.
What do you right now, if you had to call it, who do you think the best team in the ACC is? Like, just forget records, whatever like that. You think the team A plays team B on a neutral field? There's no line involved. You just got a money line, pick 'em game. Who's the best team in the ACC?
I can tell you who the highest power rated team is according to Kelly Ford, and that's Miami.
Oh,
the second highest power rated team in the ACC. You ready for this?
Is it SMU?
Florida State.
Yeah. Okay. Next on that.
SMU is there. Clemson's fourth. Clemson's still highly power rated.
That doesn't shock me.
Then you got Pitt, Louisville, Georgia Tech. Duke is 46th in the country power rating wise, just above JMU. That's another thing. If they look at record strength and power ratings like they clearly did for Utah, I mean, JMU's right there with Duke, like on a neutral field.
Yeah.
Those seem to match up really, really well. You got Virginia barely cracking the top 50 above North Texas. It's just not a good – it's It's not a good conference. This is why they want to expand to 16 teams. I am all for that, but we got to get rid of the AQs. And I think we've been targeting the G5 and saying they should not get a representative. Like you shouldn't get that. Danny Cannell's been beating that drum, so I got to give him respect. He's been beating that for a couple weeks now. Why should the ACC get a team this year?
Well, it depends. They probably shouldn't, but like it depends on who is. Again, like if you still go through one, I know that they don't play like any group, but if you still go through only with one loss or whatever, like but I don't disagree that this is never going to happen. They're going to do the automatic qualifiers. They're going to do that. But
Yeah.
I get the point. I get the point that you're making. I don't think
Yeah.
you really answered me a minute ago, so I'm going to do it for you.
Okay, what?
If you had to pick an ACC team right now, Team A plays Team B, neutral field, no line given. Let's just pick them. Who do you think the best team in the ACC is? Like, who would you pick?
ACC team versus ACC team?
Yes. Who's the best team? And who do you think the best team in the ACC is?
I mean, it's hard not to say Miami.
Yep. I'm saying Georgia Tech, and then Miami's a close second. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's hard not to say
Miami
Pitt
and
either.
Georgia Tech play tomorrow, this Saturday on a neutral field for the ACC championship. I would take Brent Key and the boys.
Yeah, I mean, why would you not take Brent Key against Mario Cristobal?
Yeah, I would take Brent Key and the boys. That's why that's the answer. I think Miami's the more talent. That's always the case with Miami and the ACC.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would take Brent Key and Georgia Tech right at this moment, which would make you happy because that's who you had in the college football playoff from the ACC going into the season.
Perfect. Let's go. All right, let's get to some really quick hitters here. A&M, wagon.
Yep.
Just absolute wagon. They go on the road to Missouri. I mean, I thought that line was a little sketchy. Turns out Matt Zoller is not
ready.
Not ready to play. He's not ready to play.
Nope.
7 for 22 for 77 yards against I would say a pretty gettable A&M defense. We've seen, multiple teams get after that defense this year. And I know Elko had 2 weeks off to prepare for him and got a little bit of film on him in the Vandy game. It just wasn't fair. They actually ran the ball really well against Texas A&M. Ended up taking the 21-point loss. So A&M, though, I mean, just kind of did their things, man. Like ran for 243 yards, passed for 221. They got all their athletes involved. The game was really never in doubt. But A&M, I think they proved they were a true wagon.
They're a complete bunch, bro.
Yeah.
They multiple backs that are all they're hard-nosed, run well, they're explosive, they can catch the ball out of the backfield. Marcel Reed's getting better and better running that offense. He's not making tons of mistakes. He's explosive also from a dual threat ability and can escape pressure. Their offensive line's one of the best in the country. They've got multiple weapons that are as explosive as any wide receiver in all of college football. Not saying they're the best wide receivers in college football. I'm just talking about from an explosive standpoint when they get their hands on the rock, like Mario Craver and KC Concepcion. Defensively, just tons of tackles for a loss. Again, 7 tackles for a loss this week, 2 sacks this week. They just live in the backfield. I mean, yeah, they're, like you said, the key word, wagon. That's what A&M is right now. They're a wagon, and they're going to be a problem for anybody to deal with.
Alabama 20, LSU 9 in Tuscaloosa last night on ABC. I was promised a Super Bowl-like effort from LSU from some people. I don't want to name them. I don't want to name them, but I was promised the Super Bowl-like effort.
I was wrong.
I was let down big time. I mean, it's wrong. Just and while we're talking about where we were wrong, like I don't know if we could have been more wrong, and everybody could have been more wrong on Garrett Nussmeier. Like I don't know what has happened. I don't know if Brian Kelly just literally just ruined that guy, and I know he was a gunslinger and he wasn't exactly mobile or anything like that coming into the season. And I know we thought that they would have more weapons. They thought their offense would be better and they could run the ball better. And it just didn't happen this year. So you move on from it. LSU moves on from it, obviously. But Alabama, I text you. I mean, it was just a ho hum performance. Like you said, they didn't play well. Like, and I agree, they didn't play well. But like
defensively, they played well, but offensively, they did not.
I miss it. I just miss when this game had some luster to it, man. Like, it just last night, that did not feel like a 7:30 primetime game.
I agree.
It was just like it just didn't do it for me. Alabama still can't run the ball. We say it every week. I don't know if it matters, man. Like, DeBoer took the 102nd ranked rushing offense in the national championship in 2023. So,
No, I've said this for 2 weeks now. Alabama's what they are running the football at
yeah,
this point. They're not good running the ball. They don't have any tailbacks with really good juice. Jam Miller's just a solid, really good piece. He's going to block well in the passing game. He's tough. He's not going to turn the ball over and fumble. He'll get you some tough yards here and there. Daniel Hill might get you a tough yard here and there. But they don't have any running backs with any major juice. Like we were talking about Texas A&M a minute ago. They got multiple backs with just tons of juice. You got Notre Dame, multiple backs, tons of juice when they run the football. When I mean juice, I mean when they get in a hole, when they run through a hole, all of a sudden they break it for 15, 20 plus yards just like that. And Alabama doesn't have that right now. And there's also not really any holes to run through at the moment because the offensive line isn't very good run blocking. So it's all on Ty Simpson offensively now. It is all on him at this point and those receivers to get open. And I mean, Simpson played well last night, but he didn't play like great. He had moments where he again struggled on the deep ball. Again, there's a stat out there. He's 2 for 14 on the season now. On Mike Rodak on X put it out. He's
yeah,
2 for 14 now on passes, 30 plus yards at 30 plus yards of air travel on the season. And that's his weakness right now. And he even knows it. He said after the game, he said, "Yeah, that was just terrible. Like underthrowing him, I'm overthrowing him." So Alabama doesn't really have a
you know who would hit those 30-yard passes? Jalen Milrow. He just would have missed
that's all he
everything
could
else.
do. He could
He
he
just would
could
have
throw
missed
the shot
everything else.
play. Yeah, he could throw the shot play.
Yeah,
He just wasn't accurate on literally anything else.
yeah,
But Simpson from 0 to 30 is as lethal as it gets in
yeah.
college football, some of the throws he makes. But the defense right now for Kane Womack, defensive coordinator, and the Alabama defense just gets better and better each week. And they are the story right now for Alabama that's not really getting any publicity because everybody's only talking about Ty Simpson after their games, which is fine. I'm sure Kane Womack is totally fine with that. And the defense continues to have a chip on their shoulder because of it. But yeah, they've played their ass off week in and week out. And they are the reason if Alabama's going to go anywhere this year, they will need the defense to continue to do that because they cannot run the football. Against any team with any decent defensive front, Alabama's not going to run the ball.
Yeah.
That is not going to change. That is what it is at this point. So it's on Ty Simpson. And what's funny is, like, I was texting a buddy about this today. Alabama right now is a team that is just, they've obviously they're quarterback centric on offense and they play very good defense. Now, the reason they continue to win games, they're like one of those teams we talk about, like, no, I'm not comparing Alabama to BYU or somebody like that. But we talk about the BYU teams and some of like teams like that. They're like, they don't beat themselves. They force you to make mistakes and they capitalize when they force you to make mistakes and they're just not going to beat themselves. I don't know what happened to a Kalen DeBoer Alabama team because last year they were one of the most heavily penalized teams in the country.
Yeah.
When he was at Washington, they were heavily penalized. During this crazy win streak that Alabama's had throughout this year, they're one of the least penalized teams in the country. They don't turn the ball over hardly ever, unless it's a Ty Simpson fumble the last few weeks. And they force you to make turnovers. They're constantly winning the turnover battle. They're not making mistakes. They're not getting heavily penalized. And when you make mistakes, because they're literally forcing 2 or 3 turnovers a game. They capitalize on them when they force you to make turnovers. So that is why they're winning games right now. It has nothing to do with the running game or that freaking offensive line right now. But they've got a big one this coming up week, man, against a team that I think that matches up well with them in Oklahoma.
Yep. The bingo card game of the week. Vanderbilt 45, Auburn 38 in overtime. Nobody had it on their bingo cards that Auburn was going to have 563 total yards, 353 through the air. And then they also were going to give up 45 points to Vandy. I jokingly said last week that Vandy was going to score 38 after you said the stat about them not giving up 24.
Yeah, going into that game, Auburn was one of 3 teams that had not given up more than 24 points on the season. Indiana and Ohio State, the number 1 and 2 teams in the country, were the other 2. And the defensive coordinator, DJ Durkin, takes over as the interim coach. Hugh Freeze, the offensive-minded head coach that was calling plays, is no longer there. And all of a sudden, they're just lighting it up offensively, and they can't stop me and you and 9 others on defense. Hey, we were touting ourselves while we were right earlier. Let me go ahead and just, if I had a plate of crow right now, I'd eat it. I think that's the worst bet I've made of the year. I had under 46, and Vandy scored 45 themselves.
Yep.
They scored, it was at 83 points, almost doubled up. But they did double up. 46. Yeah, 46, 82.
And to make matters worse, you had Auburn +6, and they lost by 7.
Yeah, Auburn +6.5. +6.5, and they lost by 7 in overtime. So that was a double whammy. That's what happens when, again, we don't hide our fandom. An Alabama fan bet on Auburn.
Yeah.
I bet on them twice this year, against Georgia and against Vandy, and look what happened.
Yep. But Vandy survives, man. They're still in the hunt. 8-2. Still in the hunt for the playoffs. They got Kentucky and Tennessee on deck. So it'll be interesting. I mean, Diego was calling a shot before the season saying they were going to win a national championship, and everybody laughed at him. And he may play them right into a chance of winning a national championship, getting in that playoff.
He said that they were also the team of the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
He's going to go into Knoxville. If they can beat Kentucky this week, Kentucky's all of a sudden playing much better ball.
Sure.
But if they can beat Kentucky this week, is there probably a college football playoff spot? Could be on the line for Vandy.
Mm-hmm.
And all they got to do is beat Tennessee and Knoxville.
Yeah. Easy said than done.
Exactly.
Lastly, another team lost its chance at the playoff. They had an outside shot. The Washington Huskies. They go to Madison and play 2-6 Wisconsin. And we talked earlier about the home road dichotomy of the Washington Huskies, especially under Jed Fish, but just kind of in the past half decade. Wisconsin, I mean, I know the weather was terrible. Washington didn't play like half bad. They just couldn't score any points. Wisconsin's leading passer, and I chat GPT'd this because I wanted to see, this has got to be the first time ever this has happened. Sean West was the leading passer for Wisconsin. You're like, I've never heard that name. Who's Sean West? He's Wisconsin's punter. He was 1 for 1 for 24 yards passing. The other quarterbacks had two quarterbacks that combined 24, 116 and 1-8. So Sean West led Wisconsin in passing, and I chat GPT'd it that they couldn't find anything. AI couldn't find anything. Any scenario where another team in college football history won a game where their punter led them in passing. So that is what kicked the Huskies out of the Big Ten championship picture, out of the college football playoff picture, might even make them a more dangerous team when it comes to Oregon coming to town rivalry weekend. They don't have anything to play for except for a bowl game, right? Or to ruin Oregon's season.
The nothing to lose mentality, other than that this will salvage our season. We can beat our bitter rival type deal. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But shout out to Luke Fickell. Everybody laughed last week when Wisconsin said we were going to keep Luke Fickell around for next season. Around this season, they would keep around next season. So shout out to Luke Fickell. I don't know how he got it done. It was truly like a Wisconsin. I mean, I miss the days we could see Wisconsin and Iowa play on a football field together. So those are the good old days of the Big Ten West. So enough of that, man. It's time for our top 12. ATB top 12 rankings. I'm going to take the odds. You take the evens. Okay. We've got a new number 1 team. Again, this is probably I'd have to go back and look, 4th or 5th new number 1 team this year. We got the Texas A&M Aggies at number 1 on top of college football. We had Indiana last week. We had Texas A&M too. We're not punishing Indiana for going on the road and winning in Happy Valley against a top 20 power rated team. We're just simply rewarding Texas A&M for going on the road, beating Mizzou. I know they had their backup quarterback and everything, but solid win, solid squad. You said they were a complete team. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Right now, I mean, I struggle to find a weakness with them.
Yep.
They've got South Carolina on deck. They get, I think, Samford, the week before they play Texas on a Friday night. Rivalry weekend is shaping up to be absolutely fantastic, and
Yep.
we're going to be every step of the way to cover it for you. But right now, we got Texas A&M as the number one team, and quite frankly, they have a better strength of record and they've played a better strength of schedule. I mean, it's very, very close. I'm working on my own strength of schedule metrics. I told you about that using power ratings and everything. They do take the cake over Indiana and Ohio State. I don't think anybody would disagree with that, but um, it's very close between those three teams. We decided to bump A&M up to number one. They look really impressive in Como this weekend.
Yeah, the metrics show that, like you said, the Texas A&M is the number one team. I think where people will disagree is if that somebody just says, no, Ohio State's better or no, Indiana's better. And that's fine. If you believe that, then they can be your number one ranked team. They're not ours.
Yeah.
Number two, the Indiana Hoosiers. We took a huge deep dive into them earlier, just their moment that they had on a fantastic season. They just had it. And again, Indiana fans, who cares what the rest of the country has to say about it? Whatever. Huge win, big time plays there at the end of the game by those two receivers and Fernando Mendoza. Just that awful pick that he threw that dug themselves into that hole, but he stepped up and made it happen and dug them out of the hole. Just an incredible, incredible win. Like you said, all the videos coming out of stuff on Indiana on campus. Just can't imagine what that would, what that's like for Indiana football fans and sports fans seeing their football team that they've been watching lose for so many years, and here they are at 10-0. They were 10-0 last year, right?
Yeah.
Or were
And
they?
they played Ohio State.
They played Ohio State after they started 10-0.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two
So
straight 10-0 starts, man.
two,
That really is tough to do.
it is. It is. No matter what conference you play in or whatever in college football, that's really tough to do to go back to back 10-0 like that.
Yeah.
And again, they were banged up in this game too, missing some key players like Elijah Surratt, one of the top receivers in all of college football. And then other guys step up and play really well in his absence. And just huge, huge win for the Hoosiers. If as long as they win this coming up week, who do they got this week? I know they got Purdue at the end of the year, but who do they got this week?
Wisconsin.
As long as they take care of business like they should.
Just your casual 30.5 point home favorite.
Yeah, as long as they just take care of business this week, they're in the college football playoff no matter what. And I know there's some people, I was even saying earlier, no, they'll be in. And you went, dude, if they were to lose to Wisconsin and to Purdue, they probably wouldn't. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's a good point. They probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
So as long as they win this week, they're going to be in the college football playoff. But right now, Indiana does not have college football playoff aspirations or anything like that. They've got Big Ten championship and national championship aspirations, and as well as they should.
Yeah. Number 3, of course, we have Ohio State.
Yeah.
A lot of people have them number 1. We're not going to fault you for having them number 1. I know we're going to post this, graphic out on all the socials, and people are going to make fun of us, whatever. Ohio State's just humming along, man. Like, we've got no issues with them. Their defense is absolutely elite, giving up like 7 points a game or something. Julian saying another 300-yard passing day. Jeremiah Smith, 130 yards receiving. They've got running backs everywhere. They just get down to the 5. CJ Donaldson just plows it in every time. I mean, they went to a house of horrors. Like, I know Purdue is not, what they were under Jeff Brom or, Joe Till or anything like that, but Ohio State's had issues there. And they came out with a 34-10 victory. So,
and I saw some stat Julian saying is through 9 games is over 80% passing. That's like the first time that's happened in college football history or something.
yeah, he might set the record.
Yeah. And it just, he's unbelievable, bro. And like, he fully is in the Heisman race and as well as he should be. And Jeremiah Smith is also, he's creeping his way into that race as well. But yeah, I do not fault, like, I agree with you. I'm going to say my piece on this as well. I do not fault you if you have Ohio State number 1. They're defending national champs. They're undefeated. I think we have agreed on here. I don't think that it's like no, absolutely they're the best team in the country, but we probably, correct me if I'm wrong, do you think that like not resume wise, but as team A, team B, like, do you think they might be the best team in the country?
Yeah, I think they may beat last year's team.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, don't disagree with you there either. But resume-wise, which is what this ranking is, they don't have a better resume.
This is part of what this ranking is.
Correct. It's not all of it. It's not all of it.
Yeah.
It is part of it. I agree. Thank you for saying that. But it's not all of it.
Yeah. So
Uh,
they get UCLA, they get Rutgers at home, and then I mean everybody's already looking ahead to the game,
yep,
Michigan, after Thanksgiving. So I don't think Ohio State's going to look ahead, and I mean, but quite frankly, they could. They could look ahead.
mm,
They could
yeah,
you look past UCLA and Rutgers. Like I don't. Both those games are at home. I doubt either of those teams are going to be able to trip them up. So
yep.
they're going to probably be 11-0 heading into Michigan, and they're going to try to get that monkey off Ryan Day's back and not lose to him for a fifth time in a row.
Yeah, what did you used to call it? The 800-pound gorilla on their back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what it is. It's not the monkey, it's the 800-pound gorilla on his
Yeah.
back that he's gotta get off his back. Number 4, we've got Alabama. Uh, another just took care of business this week against LSU, didn't play really well on offense, played well on defense again. Ty Simpson did some things well. He also, again, struggled on the deep ball. Overall, they still cannot run the football. We talked about it earlier in this episode. This is what it is at this point against any team that has solid talent on their defensive front. Alabama's not going to be able to run the ball. We're however many games into the season. We're freaking about to be halfway through November into week 11, week 12 of college football. That is what Alabama is at this point. It's on Ty Simpson on offense, and it's on the Alabama defense, and it's on them to continue to be very opportunistic in the turnover margin like they've been all year long and to not make mistakes when it comes to being penalized if they want to continue to try to go far. But yeah, Bama, nice rivalry win over LSU.
Number 5, the Dogs. Georgia Bulldogs
They look good.
finally, they go on the road. They handle a team that they should handle. I know the
Yeah.
spread was 9.5, and I know we took Mississippi. Well, I took Mississippi State, but they handled them, man. 300 yards rushing. They finally ran the ball. Nate Frazier with 181 yards. They took care of the ball. Stockton with 3 touchdowns. They got a nice, easy 20-point victory on the road in the SEC.
567 total yards, bro,
Yeah.
in that game. I mean, they were balanced on all the way around. The balanced
Yep.
all the way around. Like I agree, they did look like the mean machine in red and black
Yep.
in that game. I looked.
Yep.
I had that on one of the. I had 3 TVs going. I had that on, and I watched a good bit of it until it just kind of got out of hand. Yeah, they looked like a complete team, and like you said, finally, I agree. They came out from the jump, from the opening whistle. I think Mississippi State might have scored on their opening possession, and Georgia just after
Mhm.
that it was over.
Yep.
Just took over and dominated the game the rest of the game.
Yep, and they finish off their SEC schedule this week,
Yep.
hosting the Texas Longhorns in a what will probably be a top 10 matchup, I would guess, with the committee's rankings. We'll see on Tuesday.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a team that Georgia so far in the SEC has owned
Yep.
twice, pretty
Yep.
handily. I think maybe even a couple times as underdogs too. So
Yep.
um, we'll see what happens Saturday night. But right now we got Georgia at 5.
Number 6, guns up, wreck 'em, Texas Tech. Just a dominant win over BYU. Total mismatch. Could have been much worse than even the 29-7 score that we ended up getting. They're just that defensive front, defense overall in general for Texas Tech under first year DC at Texas Tech, Shield Wood, my beloved, pretend cousin. Just he's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
Unbelievable career he's had as a defensive coordinator. I think it's awesome that the rest of the nation is now figuring out who that guy is. Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey, all of their stars were stars in this game. Cameron Dickey, running back, was a star in this game. Like we said earlier, though, as far as Tech making a run into the college football playoff, it's just hard to see it, man, with Baron Morton limping around like he is. And
Yeah.
maybe they can continue to lean on that defense and Morton gets healthy. But if Morton does somehow that leg does get better and improve, uh, they're they don't have to take a back seat to hardly anybody, man. It's just right now having a gimpy quarterback and no Will Hammond to back him up anymore. It's just tough, man, at this moment in time to see them without an unhealthy QB1 going deep.
Number 7, we got Ole Miss. Not a lot to say about them this week. They played the Citadel. They won 49-0. They get Florida this week at home in a revenge spot from
Yeah.
last year.
Yep.
15.5-point favorites. Then they get a bye week before the Egg Bowl too, which we just saw Georgia, what they did at Mississippi State. I know it's a rivalry game. It'll be contentious, but right now you got to see Ole Miss is looking looking pretty good for the CFP. So we got them at number 7 right now.
I wonder how much will be talked about this week with all the job stuff linked there with Florida and Kiffin.
Yep.
That'll be interesting to see how Ole Miss is able to keep their head on straight this week with all that loud noise that's going to be going around social media and everywhere else.
Yep.
Number 8, the Quack Attack, the Oregon Ducks, with a hard-fought dub on the road in Iowa City. Just, again, fantastic win. Finding a way to win that game, playing Iowa's style of game, playing Iowa's game in their house, in the rain, in the cold, giving up that touchdown late the night you thought it was going to be over with, and Oregon just goes straight down the field and finds a way to pull that out. Very impressive win by the Ducks. And they're just, I was unbelievable that they found a way to run for as many yards as they did against Iowa. Like with the weather that the situation was there too. Like, Iowa was geared up to stop the run, and they still ran it as well as they did on them. That's just a testament to Oregon's offensive line. They've been really good all year, and their offensive line is better than what it was last year. And they had they had a first round pick, and I think had another like high round pick as well last year. They're better than they were last year at running the football and along the offensive line overall. So great win for the Ducks. Obviously, they've got USC coming up here. They got Minnesota this week.
Yep.
You don't want to overlook PJ Fleck and Minnesota. They could step up and beat somebody, but that's just hard for me to see Minnesota going on the road and beating Oregon at Oregon. It really comes down to USC here in a couple of weeks, and then obviously the trip to Husky Stadium where Jed Fish and the Huskies don't have in your mind what they just did to Wisconsin. Have in your mind and just take 10 seconds to pull up your phone and go look at Washington's schedule the last 4 years. Go back to 4 years. Just do that. And count up how many games they've lost at home.
Yep.
1 will be the answer. They don't lose at home.
Number 9, we got Notre Dame. Ho-hum victory over Navy. I did end up betting it before I saw the Blake Horvath news. He didn't play, but got him at 25.5, 26.5. I told you, I have a keen awareness. When Notre Dame plays Navy, it's not going to be pretty.
Yep.
49-10. CJ Carr looked great. Jeremiah Love looked great.
Yep.
Jaden Price. I mean, just the usuals. Snow game. Beautiful snow game in South Bend. I know it was a wet snow, but right now they're getting dumped on with this lake effect. Like up there in northern Indiana is getting like 12 to 18 inches right now, which is crazy. I got snow outside my house right now.
We don't have snow here, bro, but it's like 20 something degrees here right now. You old Southern boy moving up here to the Midwest. I ain't built for this, man. I look like the Vols in Buckeye Stadium right now at the Horseshoe. Right now, man,
Yeah.
I'm out there bundled up, walking around, walking the dog, looking like I've never seen cold weather before here. But yeah, man, that was cool. Like honestly, like, again, just all the feels that you get when you see a little bit of a snow game like that. That was cool. But yeah, the Irish took care of business. Big one this week, bro.
Yep.
Huge one this week. We've been touting Pitt for a few weeks now, and game day is going to be there. That's going to be
this is Notre Dame's last chance to impress.
I agree. Their last chance to impress, but it's like
Syracuse and Stanford after this.
I know Freeman's lost some. I'm not even going to say it because you're going to smack me if I say it, because I'll end up jinxing it. So I'm really not, just because you're my boy, I'm not even going to say it. This huge game this weekend for the Irish,
Yep.
to take care of business against Pitt and to keep their chances to go towards a college football playoff and a possible national championship. Number 10, we've got Hook'em, the Texas Longhorns. Again, teams lost this week. I know they didn't play, but when you look at Texas's resume and their strength of record, their strength of schedule, you look at teams that they've beaten Vandy, they beat Oklahoma like a drum, like they did. I mean, Texas's resume, I know the eye test with Texas, like you pointed out last week, and it's true. The eye test with Texas has not been there all year. It was against Oklahoma, and it was for about three quarters against Vandy. Other than that, the eye test has not been there. But again, the resume shows it. And because the team's losing, Texas is at number 10.
Yep. Number 11, BYU. Cougars dropped down to number 11. I think we had them at 7 last week. So Got him at number 11 this week. Obviously took it on the chin in Lubbock. It's a tough place to win. They get to bounce back with TCU this weekend. It's a 10-15 start, so the Vampires will be out. And then they get a big one at Cincinnati after that, and then UCF. So again, they still control their destiny. They still got a really good shot at going 11-1 and trying to get that rematch with Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And number 12, Boomer Sooner, the Oklahoma Sooners. They were on a bye week as well. Playoff elimination game for them this coming up week. On the road in Tuscaloosa at Alabama, 3:30 Eastern, ABC. We all know what happened last year. Oklahoma ruined Alabama's season there at the end of the year and just punked Alabama in Norman. Oklahoma's defensive front will be a major, major problem for Alabama's offensive line. That matchup right there is going to be interesting to see how that goes. And then John Mateer, obviously he's probably as healthy as he's been in weeks, coming off a bye week like this with that thumb and hand injury. So Oklahoma's got everything in front of them here to take a shot at Alabama to keep their season alive, to keep their hopes alive. And I still think they've got Mizzou and LSU left after that. So again, they've got one of the tougher schedules down like the last 3 games here, as far as any of these other playoff contenders. Them and Texas both. Texas still has Georgia and Athens is coming up week, and then they've got obviously A&M at the end of the year. But we got Boomer Sooner at 12.
Yep. So that's our top 12. I know it doesn't matter much, but AP poll got released today. Top 5 was unchanged. Missouri, Memphis, Washington all dropped out. Louisville and UVA dropped down 5 and 8 spots down to 19 and 20. Pitt finally jumped in. So good for them. JMU and USF are in the AP poll. I know it doesn't matter, but we talked today about how like they have obviously looked at the CFP rankings and we're trying to get more in line with that because Oregon went on the road and beat number 20, and Ole Miss beat the Citadel at home, and Ole Miss jumped Oregon in the spots, like in the rankings. But they saw Oregon was ranked 9, so like, oh, we can't rank them that high. So they dropped. Like Oregon actually dropped for winning on the road at number 20,
which is dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb, but it is what it is. Like they screw stuff up every week, but they kind of just. I think it happens every year when the CFP rankings come out. They fall in line with that. So we're not going to spend much time talking about the AP poll. Obviously, we will be back Tuesday night, 8 p.m. We're going
Eastern,
live. It's going to be after.
Eastern.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be live. It's going to be live. But it's going to be after the rankings are out at 7 Eastern. Like I said, we got kids. We got to put to bed and everything, and so we've got lives we got to take care of before we hop on and chat with you fine people. So make sure you tune in on Tuesday night. Real quick before we get out of here, I got one early bet to give out.
Me too.
Lance has got a couple. I'm going to take, again, we talked about him, the number 11 in our poll, BYU. Got him at 4.5 against TCU. I bet TCU this week against Iowa State, coming off a bye at home. Iowa State had lost 4 in a row. Completely flopped. And I'm just going to take BYU at 10-15. The Vampires are going to be out. It's a night game. They're going to bounce back from Tech. I think they're going to take care of business against TCU. So I'm going to take BYU minus 4.5.
I'm going to take the unranked team versus a ranked team, and the unranked team is favored. It was 6-3 the last I checked on the year where that happens. I bet on this unranked team earlier in the year against a ranked team, and they let me down. I bet against this team this last week in the upset alert special by giving out, which I need to say this. You had an assist on that. You lobbed it up to me for a nice little alley-oop. Before the episode, you were telling me we were trying to figure out upset alerts. You liked UConn as well, and that ended up pushing it over the edge for me to put out UConn.
Almost went 2 for 2 with Iowa.
Yeah, you did. Yes, we did. But I had UConn plus 9.5 an upset alert, and they did win outright against Duke. So Duke now coming back home, getting UVA, and Duke, the unranked team, is favored by 6.5 points over the ranked team. I'll take Duke minus 6.5.
Yep.
And I can probably see myself getting there by probably even our live episode with you on the Vampires of BYU. And I know I'm not even going to explain. I'm just going to leave it open-ended. We keep calling them the Vampires, and people are going to be like, why are you calling them the Vampires? Just hit us up on YouTube in the comments. We'll be happy to tell you why they're called the Vampires. And then you probably will open your betting app as well. after we tell you why we call them that.
Yep. So that's it for us. Again, we're going to be here on Tuesday night. Make sure you join us, and then we'll be back the next night to preview next weekend's action. We only got 3 regular season weeks left. So we're in full force here, man, chugging right along towards conference championship weekend and the college football playoffs. So that's it for us. Thank you for tuning in. Follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. For Lance Barton, I'm Tyler Noe. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.